Well, hello, everybody. Hi, welcome to a new episode of our show, 𝘍𝗵𝗿, Spiritual Unity of the Three Principles. Today is a really special episode as the subject matter is about how to share the three principles with children who've been in and out of school, the school system. And for this, we've got amazing guests with us. We've got 𝘖𝗵𝗿𝗀𝘁 of from My Guide Inside Comprehensive Curriculum. We've got Catherine Jones, the CEO and the founder of 𝗍𝗵𝗿𝗀𝘀 Mentoring Academy. Daniela Carboni, coach and mentor at 𝗍𝗵𝗿𝗀𝘀 Mentoring Academy, and 𝘕𝗵𝗿 𝘊𝗃. So I've been really looking forward to this conversation, as it is of a paramount importance to pass on this understanding that that played a huge role in our lives, really. I mean, it's such a blessing to come across this understanding. And the main or the most important thing is how to educate our children about this so they could, have a better experience of life with less suffering. Because, this is what the three principles are about, is to know about how our mind really works, how our experience of life really works, and this is one of those things that plays a huge role in someone's life. I mean, if children now really get this understanding, they will suffer less. They will have a gentler experience of life, and this is what this show today is all about. So I'll pass it on to Harry and then give it to our first speaker, Krista.
Well, first of all, there's not going to be a speaker. We're trying to do a panel where we're looking at how to deal with what's on the minds of the kids and the parents, perhaps from a Muslim perspective, but really from a Muslim three principles perspective. And so we're not trying to come across here like we know what you should do. We're literally trying to look at, in this particular meeting, brainstorming to reveal some of the hidden topics that are not talked about, some of the new ideas that could be used to more effectively penetrate perhaps some of the culture, but more the truth and the feelings that parents and kids have together. The idea came to me because after Krista, we had a show with Mamoun and Rabbi Shaul Rosenblatt. And after the show, three Muslim women, Daniela, who Catherine knows a lot, and two others came on, and we talked human being to human being. It was so beautiful. I just absolutely loved it. And they absolutely did. It was so, and at the same time, I got an idea what the human being is asking, what they're curious, what they really want to know, besides this spiritual psychology of the three principles. And so this idea came, and I wanted Krista to be part of this because for me, Krista epitomizes what Sid is looking for, the purity of the principles. And within the purity of the principles, she specializes in an area that is dear to her heart. I'm going to say passionate in her heart. And she has continued to share with whoever is open to what she has to say through her. What's it called again, Krista, your name of your company?
My Guide Inside is the books.
Okay, which is a series of things, but it combines the spiritual psychology of the three principles from a children's and teacher's perspective, but it really epitomizes her growth because it has evolved over time. Would you agree, Krista?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
the truth is always true.
As a teacher, I'm glad you approve of that. yeah. So and hi, Daniela. Nice to see you. So do we have now Daniela, Catherine, I've asked Anand to join us as well on the panel with Krista and so on. And so we're going to start. Krista has a little preamble intro, what it is we educate the kids about and how it aligns with global education objectives and competencies, blah, 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 blah. And, so Krista asked to shoot it to start. And remember, this is a panel discussion. This is not, we have the answers. We are investigating how to share this more purely. Okay.
We are in exploration mode, not expert mode.
Oh, right. Perfect.
It's ironic.
Yeah.
We don't have the answers, but we do have the answers.
Yeah. That's it.
Good. Thank you so much. I'm really pleased to be invited to be with you today. And just a little bit, a tiny background. It's what Harry says is very true. That's been my passion to share the 3 principles throughout my entire teaching career. I learned about these principles in 1975 when I was rather disillusioned and wondered, should I be a teacher? Because no one really knew how to reach the students who were struggling. Either if they were acting out or if they were shut down with their head on their desk and not communicating. But after learning even just a little bit about the 3 principles and the beautiful feeling that comes with knowing just a little bit, I found that I was able to connect with struggling learners and finished my bachelor's degree in education, and it's been a teacher since 1977, and then upgraded with a master's degree for job opportunities, and then upgraded again to be in service to any student who has a special needs designation. And all along, as Harry says, you just keep learning. It's a lifelong learning journey. The curriculum the reason I'm invited is that I've written this curriculum with a small team. And it's the 3rd big curriculum that I've been a part of that has the 3 principles at the core. In 1991, I co-authored one with a young man out of Florida. In 2004, I wrote another curriculum for my master's degree. And then in 2016, with 𝗵𝗵𝗿𝗀𝘕 out of the United States, we created the My Guide Inside, and Jane Tucker is a co-author as well. And why did I do this upon retiring? It's because 𝗵𝗵𝗿𝗪𝘕, who's the founding director of National Resilience Resource Center in the United States, had been working very successfully with teachers, teaching them about the 3 principles. Very successful. It's written up in at least a couple of textbooks. And on her website, she had a global call for curriculum because teachers were wanting a curriculum. They loved learning about the principles. And as we know, when you learn something, it affects your whole life, not just your professional life, but your personal life and your relationship with yourself. So teachers were calling for a curriculum. And so I thought, I'd like to do that. Upon retirement, took it on. And we've had an amazing journey. Each level, we have 3 levels. Each level took a full year. And we worked with much passion and really making it as relevant as we could. And always in our mind that this is a global curriculum. And we're very happy to say multiple translations are happening, and we really feel connected in many ways with the global education community. Just the other day, someone was remarking how amazing it is that these stories just translate from one culture to another because they're stories based on universal truth. And also today I've invited my dear friend and esteemed colleague, 𝗖𝗵𝗿𝗀𝘀𝗹𝗹, and she can join in the panel because Sarah has been very instrumental in getting the 3 principles curriculum, My Guide Inside, into schools. And so she'll have a lot to say about how she's been successful doing that.
Great.
So
Beautiful.
So maybe we could now have Daniela and Catherine just express a few things that they've felt. Oh, you have more to say, Krista?
Well, I'd like to just, as you were saying, Harry, I just want to say just a little bit about what is it that we, in practical terms, in children's language, what is it that we educate them about?
Yeah.
And then very simply, how are we aligning these principles with global education objectives? So if you want me to do that now or in a little bit, it's
No, go ahead. You're
okay.
on the roll.
On a roll. So what I've chosen is the primary level, just to give just a tiny overview of what it is we share with children. And I chose this because our dear friend and colleague, Dr. Pettit, says those 4 chapters is that's all you need to know. And so these are the things that we, in a nutshell, teach the children. With each set of key points, we have stories that illustrate how children gain insights and learn these valuable things. So the first chapter, Discovering My Guide Inside. You have a guide inside. It is wisdom and common sense. Everyone has this guide inside. Just look for the feeling. You can trust your guide. It points you the right way. Chapter 2, My feelings come from thought. My thought creates my feeling. All of my feelings come from thought. I let unwanted thought pass by, and well-being is present. Chapter 3, Happiness inside me. I listen to my guide inside. Helpful thoughts pop up. My good feeling is present again. And lastly, there are more chapters, but I'll stop after this one. Chapter 4, Fast and Furious or Calm and Curious. I can see I'm thinking fast and furious. I can choose to let it go. I can be calm and curious.
Very
And
good.
then we have 2 other levels, like for preteens, 9 to 13-year-olds. And then the 3rd level would be for teenagers, ages 14 to 19. And of course, the stories are age appropriate. The vocabulary is age appropriate. But it's so interesting that the key words, I'd say there's maybe 5 key words, they're in every level. And the definitions are exactly the same because the truth is simple. Last little bit, and then on to your to the panel or whatever you choose. So of course we have to align what we're teaching with what society is asking for. And I'm just going to read a little bit about how we connect the 3 principles with societal expectations in the education world. So our goals are to enhance personal well-being with an understanding of the 3 principles. And second goal is to develop competencies in communication, thinking, personal awareness and personal responsibility, social awareness and social responsibility. The last little bit I'll say describes that. Discovering their guide inside is key to learning and enhances every student's ability to make decisions, navigate life, build healthy relationships. Accessing that natural wisdom will affect well-being, spiritual wellness, personal and social responsibility, personal identity, and cultural identity. Social emotional learning, including self-determination, self-regulation, and self-efficacy are also natural outcomes of greater awareness. There you have the crash course on what we offer. So I thought it would be good to just have that as a little bit of a foundation for the brainstorming that we'll do this hour.
I love what you just shared with us, Krista. This is just beautiful. I would love to ask Catherine and Daniel if they want to just unmute themselves and just.
Yes. Thank you for inviting us to this important conversation, and great to see you again, Krista and Harry and Omar. I've just invited Janine. I woke her up to join me as well because she's been working with me in developing children's curriculum from an Islamic perspective. And we've actually used Krista's book, teaching a group of Malaysian students, about 29 Malaysian students back in December, January. But we're also using the Spark program in her school. So I thought it was important for her to join us as well. But I wanted to share with Krista a few of the comments that the kids made after we used the Guide Inside and my Guide Inside. We changed it a little because to us, the Guide Inside is Allah guiding us. And so we changed the language a little when we shared it with them. And it was just amazing. It was online, so we weren't meeting them in person because obviously they were in lockdown. These kids were at a point where they were really quite angry. They'd been in a total lockdown for 4 months at this point. They had not seen other kids. They'd been with their family constantly. They were in the sort of lockdown where only one family member was allowed out to get essentials. And so these kids were addicted to their games. They weren't doing their schoolwork because they were sick of online schooling. They were sick of their family. They were sick of the walls that were around them. And their parents were going a bit despair, with the kids, particularly their anger, because they were getting frustrated. And it was absolutely amazing, their takeaways. I asked them 3 questions at the end. One was, what was one important thing they learned? What differences did they notice in themselves? And how did it feel to know that Allah was guiding them? Because one of the things that's very deficient and missing in our Islamic education system, and I'm currently studying a graduate diploma in Islamic pedagogy, so I'm quite familiar with all the research around this, is they forget to teach the kids about Allah guiding them. They're all too busy teaching them about praying and fasting and all these sorts of things that it's missing that key element. And some of the really cute things, oh good, Zainab's here too. Zainab's from Nigeria. She's also in educating children as well. If you can give me the permission to share screen, I've got 3 slides I can show you so you can all read what the kids actually said. It's absolutely gorgeous, some of their words. Like for instance, one of them said, knowing that Allah's guiding them was a bit exciting. Okay, thank you. It's so cute, their words. So what they learned, this is one key thing they said they learned. Can you see that? What is one important thing you learned?
Yes.
Okay, so I learned how to control my thoughts and feelings so it doesn't get too out of hand. I learned that all of us are born on the fitra, and the fitra is our innate state. That's an Islamic language that we used. Yes. And that you have to let go of your anger and worries. I learned how to control myself and to always be happy and to smile a lot. Allah is here for you, how to love who you are. I thought that was beautiful. To be a strong, happy person, letting go of negativity. I learned that our thoughts can control our imagination and we need to ask Allah for help. I learned that you need to be calm sometimes instead of being angry, to be kind to everyone and listen to your fitra, how to control my feelings and anger, and how to not let others affect your feelings. I mean, isn't that beautiful? This is from 10 to 13-year-olds. So in answer to the question, what difference did they see in themselves? This is beautiful as well. So controlling my anger a bit more. We called it IGS as in innate guidance system in order to, so we came up with our own language so it could connect well with our Islamic teachings. So I follow my IGS more often and be more wiser, the grammar's a bit interesting, about my surroundings and observe. I remember to catch myself and be mindful more. I learned that I started getting more helpful and a little bit polite. I become more compassionate and I found it easier to cope with the bad thoughts and feelings coming through my head. I've become more aware and respectful, expressing my feelings in a better way and a way to see things in a different point of view. I get less angered by others. I don't rage too much. I stopped being as mad. Think before you get mad. They love the stoplight, by the way, Krista. The whole concept of the stoplight was brilliant. Before this, I used to be a very impatient, sensitive person, but after learning about the IGS, I learned how to let the negative feelings go. Calmer, think before I speak, and think what I should have done after I've done the wrong thing, so I'm prepared for next time. I mean, this is amazing words from 10 to 13-year-olds. And the last one is, how does it feel to know Allah is guiding you? I mean, these are brilliant as well. I mean, the kids' words say it all. It makes me feel protected and safe. I mean, can you imagine how beautiful that must feel to kids? It's a bit exciting. I used to not know how to be disciplined about my studies. All I think last time was playing games, but now I only play games when I get the chance to. I don't feel alone in my decisions. I mean, that is so profound from a 10 to 13-year-old. It feels good that Allah is watching me and is always protecting me. Good, I can talk to my voice in my head that says to do the right things, the ones that I know are good and need no question. I keep calm more. I start learning to listen to my IGS and make good decisions. I know what to do. It makes me feel safe. This whole thing around safety, I mean, it's follow everything that you feel is the right thing to do. It makes me more calm and collected because my IGS is a blessing from Allah. Allah is my God and He knows what's best for me. So, I mean, those words say it all. I mean, seriously, I was so blown away. That was just those few weeks, once a week for about 50 minutes, wasn't it, Janine? Janine, you're still 𝗵𝗿𝗺𝗏 on your name. It's the problem when you share Zoom with your kids for online learning, because Janine's in Melbourne, they've just gone back into lockdown. So everybody's probably sharing the computer for Zoom learning. Do you want to add something, Janine, about our experience with the Malaysian students?
It's just the stark contrast to being in the classroom, I suppose. Yeah, I'm a bit speechless. Yeah, no.
So Janine was with me when we taught that online, but she's also working at her school. They've got, what, about 600 students going through this, our Islamic version of the Spark program.
Yeah, and it's not quite so easy online, you know, kids who are there, and yeah, that was a beautiful experience. At school, it's something else. We've been coming up a lot of different things, but since we've gone on to online, and I've actually played a couple of Michael O'Neill's videos for them, just little short and talking about anxiety. And because you get the students who are sort of calmer and more reflective speaking, it's been really beautiful sessions this week. Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Okay, and Daniela, I actually gave you as the spark or the seed that initiated this particular meeting with that feeling we shared after the talk, and when the three women shared this feeling. So it really all came from Daniela, this meeting, and I didn't really realize she was connected to Catherine and all that stuff, but it turns out you women are sort of intermingling with each other. And so as a mother, could you talk a little bit of what you have seen and like to reflect on, etc.
Yeah, sure. And I had no idea that this was based on that on that past talk after a talk. But anyway, I feel blessed for that. So yeah, so I have obviously, you know, the understanding through Catherine, and what I found is that, you know, just by me showing up, being the best person that I can, you know, that's, and talking, you know, the way that we do in that calm, sort of compassionate way. What I found is that with my son, he's just sort of picked it up like that. You know, I haven't really had to explain too much at all to him, because he sees that through me. And what I found is that one time when I think Catherine was doing an online class, and we just happened to go in there that time, it was for children. And he's like, "Oh, Mum, she's just talking the way you do, Mum." And it was actually really nice to hear that. And then to see other kids doing that, he got actually really excited. And so it helped him to know that when Mum's speaking, she's actually saying something that's quite all right. Do you know what I mean? And it's helped, you know, me as well, like, you know, when I'm talking to him, when he's not making, so that when I can see that he's not making right decisions at some times, or, you know, I can see that he's going to act in a not so good way, I can just go, hang on, stop. Is that something that is pleasing to Allah, or is that in your spark? These sort of, you know, ways of talking, and then he'll stop, reflect, and go, no. And then he's quick to change that reaction. And that's beautiful to see, you know, someone who wasn't like that before, but is now. It's amazing. So, you know, with that, I have also, you know, I think that's helped him a lot as well at school. And, you know, when there is, you know, bullying and things like that, or, you know, I just remind him, you know, just make sure that you're, you know, you're doing things that are pleasing to Allah, and which is, you know, for us is our guide. And so that helps. Yeah.
You bring up something really interesting, Daniela. The way to teach this is to be just as ordinary and without getting into the teacher-student relationship, just being a human being and relating to the kids, bringing out a feeling that they're comfortable with and enjoy. And the conversation then is just that, like talking to in the living room over a cup of coffee, rather than I have something to teach you type of thing. And within that context, I want to emphasize, I have also taught a little bit of the curriculum, and I don't do it anything the way anyone else does it. And I just like the stories, and I relate and teach it through the stories. And because the kids like me, they like my bad jokes and the way I'm just a kid with them and stuff like that. But the profoundness can still come out, because it's an indigenous way of teaching, to be honest. And so it's that way. And I love the way you've crossed over some of the words, Catherine, and that's so important in my mind. It can't just be 3P jargon. There's different words that translate easier to the kids, and of course to the teacher, than just that. We've got to remember, mind, thought, and consciousness was developed for the psychologists, not for just for that. And it's
in fact, one of the stories, Krista, the one about the Hawaiian story about the bowl of light.
Yeah, is that a great story? Wow.
It's a brilliant story, but it fits so beautifully with our understanding of every child being born on the fitra. And because I'd already taught them that, at the end of that story, I asked them to, you know, how does that connect with what we already know from our Islamic perspective? And they worked out that that the bowl of light was like our fitra. And so it was really brilliant for them to see how other cultures have their own way of explaining the things that we understand. And it fits beautifully with Islamic pedagogy, because part of Islamic pedagogy is understanding how what we understand fits with what other people understand as well. So I found that story particularly was very beautiful. And the kids loved the idea of just chucking the stones out of the bowl, because it just makes it so simple. I don't have to hang on to these thoughts. Like, it's just like, chuck the stones out of the bowl. It just, that, because it is simple, and we make it so complicated, and the stories for the children make it so easy for them to just have a visual in their mind. Okay, so I'm getting worked up now. I'll just chuck my stones out. I'll be okay. My light will shine again. And it's very similar, I guess, to some of the concepts in the Spark program as well. And some of the things that I've done with kids where, well, actually I do this with the adults as well, where I'll have 3 glass teacups with tea lights at the bottom, and I'll fill each cup with boiling water. They're waterproof tea lights. And that is basically is your innate guidance system, the light shining at the bottom. And I'll put in a black tea bag for what we define as negative thoughts. And I'll put in a red tea bag in another cup, which defines positive, what we define as positive thoughts. And then I leave one without a tea bag. And while I'm teaching, I just dangle the tea bags and get them to notice how the light is getting dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. And it's like, well, see, the more we ruminate over thinking, the more it covers our ability to connect with that guide that's there to light the way for us. The light just gets dimmer, doesn't turn off, it just gets dimmer. And so these kind of, what you've done is given mental visuals. Like, I often use tools to give them visual visuals, but your stories give them mental visuals that they can hang on to and understand the concepts very easily.
I really want to thank you for sharing the learners' comments, Catherine. I find them very touching and moving. As a teacher, you just know those children have something that, obviously we're all on a learning journey, that's life, but they've got something they can really go back to square one and find that peace and calmness. And what we say in the teacher's manual, and what I'm hearing from you and Daniela and Harry, is so relevant. Because what we say is that we've created a framework, and a framework where air can go through, and it's important that each person facilitating brings it alive. And I just love, as Harry does, that you've got your IGS and you're connecting it with language that makes sense, and with ideas from your beautiful religion and culture as well. So I think this is so beautiful. And I was saying earlier, before everyone was on, to Omar and Harry, how in the past century, we would, as educators, we would say, oh, if you could just tolerate each other, the world would be a better place. But the children are evolving, and the children are seeing that it's beyond tolerating. We can see that we are a global community, and we can have actually an appreciation for the differences, and also while also seeing how the universal commonality. And so thank you, Catherine, for sharing those slides, and Daniela for saying how simply, and Janine, and Harry, how simply it happens. I'm really enjoying hearing this. I wonder if Sarah would be comfortable to say a little something about her role within a school district, to bringing, for grants and bringing the 3 principles learning into a school district. If Sarah's still there and willing.
I'm still here and I'm willing.
Yeah. Good.
Just simply what happened was that students were obviously becoming more and more interested in their own well-being. And they got to the point where they had a summit and the whole school was closed so that they had workshops all day. We had 43 different workshops going on. And among those workshops was a workshop that Krista and Bob gave 3 times. So that was a small seed. And then the following year, they said that they would really like to have some peer-to-peer counseling. That's what they really were looking for. So we went about it in a very methodical way. We invited people to offer their services, including Krista, and the students chose Krista. So it was all originating from the students themselves, which meant that they were absolutely committed and invested. And although they were a committee themselves to bring this into the school, not necessarily thinking they were all going to sign up, they did. And once they signed up, they were hooked. So we had, 12, I think, who went through the course that year. And we're actually going to have a meeting with them, we hope, this month or beginning of next month to hear how they're all doing, because this was actually 3 years ago. And as far as writing the grants, I think providing you feel strongly yourself that this is the right thing to do and you know this is the way to do it, then that shows. You'll find that you can shape things in a way that the funders will recognize themselves that this is the right thing to fund. So this is really what, how it happened. If anyone's interested, I've got quite a few things that could be even copied and pasted, which would be helpful perhaps if it's a question of applying for funds for your school districts. So that's a possibility.
Thank you. Isn't it beautiful how it's, as Sarah was saying, it started with the young people's own interest in their well-being. And because the principles are so universal, you can really, what is it you're keen to know more about? And then we can help you, as Omar was saying, we can help you with the discovery. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Sarah.
One of the questions, Ahmed isn't here, but he voiced, whenever I'm coaching him or whatever I'm doing with him, his kids are around, and they have loved, by the way, I videoed the Hawaiian ball story and an elder story, and they have loved the stories, and it brought them closer to me. But he voiced the question that was deep in his heart as a male teacher and a parent, and he says he felt that why do parents not talk more about emotions? How would you deal with that? That was in his heart. He felt something he would like to know more about.
You shared that, if I may jump in.
Well, okay.
No, never mind. Sorry.
No, jump in.
You posed that, I saw it in an email or something, and so I was reflecting on it. And I am a parent now, a grandparent, and a little bit regularly involved in my grandchildren's lives. But it did cause me to reflect, and what I came up with was a little bit, I looked for a few of Sid's quotes, and I think if the parents understood about emotions, they'd be happy to share. And I think a message that we love to share with parents is about when you feel grateful for what you have and satisfied, that opens the door to a calm, peaceful mind. And out of that calm and peaceful mind, your wisdom is available to offer up insights, and you know in the moment how to help someone who's struggling.
Yeah, I love that, Krista, because that's really the essence of the parenting program I've been teaching now since probably 2012. I started teaching. It started off as parenting by connection, but as I came to understand the 3 Ps, it changed into peaceful parenting as I developed my own program. And I think that parents are scared of emotions because they don't understand them. And I think they've also grown up with parents who were scared of emotions. And so they were parented in a way where emotions are something to be feared around. And what you witness is parents trying to get children to be not emotional as quickly as possible, which obviously is corrupting their innate ability to navigate their emotions. And so I think the answer to the question is teaching the parents to understand emotions, just like you were saying, and not being scared of them, and knowing and having that trust that if they're in a calm place, they'll know what to do. And there's no recipe to parenting. It's actually an intuitive thing once you have lost all the stories that you have around it, and you can see your child as the child who is struggling rather than the problem. Because I think what happens is the child gets seen as the problem because their behavior is problematic. But we all know that behavior is a symptom of the problem. It's not the problem itself. So when you can get parents to separate the problem from the child and see the child, then their natural love and compassion can come forward, and they're able to know what to do because they're always being guided what to do. So yeah, that's what I found over the years of doing parenting work. The other thing that really hit home for me when I was developing my own program, it was around that time, I can't remember what I was listening to, but someone had asked Sydney the question, oh no, Sydney had talked about how he had asked some of the parents that were around him, because he could witness the well-being in the children. How did they teach their children about the paradigm, the 3 principles? And the parents' answers to Sydney was, we didn't, we just live it. And when I heard that story related to me, it really helped me really focus parents in on just worrying about themselves. And that if they can worry about, well, not worry about themselves, we don't want to add more thinking, but you know what I mean, but just focus on their own understanding, that their parenting will fall into place. And I've seen that happen over and over and over again with the parents that I work with.
You have something to add, Daniela?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, it was really interesting. I think it might have been last week. It's sort of going on to what you're both saying, but it was it's a story that happened at school where my son was actually struggling, and I actually didn't do anything except just, you know, sit with him. And I could see, you know, when you can feel the teachers getting, you know, they want to fix it, or, you know what's happening, know what's wrong. And I actually just sat there with him, and I think it was just on the step. And I can't remember what was happening, but it was quick. Like, it was literally a minute, maybe 2 minutes. He, you know, come to me and then was off, and he was back to his resilient self. And, you know, the teacher's going, what did you do? I said, I didn't do nothing. I was just the calm parent that you need to be. And they were amazed that that's all it takes. And that's the kind of, you know, when you're calm and confident as a parent, that naturally flows on to the children. You know, once upon a time, I wasn't that. And, you know, I too came from parenting by connection. And, you know, that you still want to, it was a different type of calm. It was a different type of confidence. And this one is just so natural, like I don't have to pretend or anything like that. So it's, you know, to see that difference, and then to see him back to his resilient self and happy self was just amazing. And to have the teachers then ask me, what did you do? Like, you know, you didn't really say much. So I didn't need to say much. It was just amazing. So I just wanted to add that story, you know, to show that.
It's interesting when you add the guided by Allah part, which is the spiritual side of the equation. The calm is understood, or the peace is understood. If you do it just psychologically, you're trying to appeal that they understand what you're saying, and you know, but that never worked with me as a kid. And as a matter of fact, at 74, it doesn't work with me still. You know, I don't like it. I don't like being having to think about stuff. I like that feeling part of it. And then it seems to clear the way that I understand what you're talking about. And that's, from what I'm hearing, that's part of the message, is it's not just a 1, 2, 3, you know, and you know, what both Krista and Catherine said immediately struck me as, wow, that's right. The parents are insecure about talking about emotions. So of course the kid feels that, you know, that's obvious, you know. And so with the feeling, with the guided by Allah part of it, it really completes what the message Sid is talking about, of course, because he said to me, with the indigenous, don't call it mind, thought, and consciousness, call it spirit, thought, and consciousness, because of course they're not interested in that thing, but the feeling. Of course, we always knew he was talking about pure positive feelings, not, you know, so that's beautiful the way you guys are mixing. That's the difficult part. How do you mix the two coins? The way that Sarah's talking fits into the global concept of what the world wants to hear, and then what really creates a healing.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel difficult though, Harry. It's just like when I listen to any 3 principles speaker, I just naturally translate it in my head to our Islamic language. So they don't have to speak my language. I just do a natural translation in my head. And you're right, it adds a very powerful element, because it's something we call tawakkul, which is putting your trust in Allah. And so what I say, you know, how you've got, I've just had a mind blank. Anyway, you know, the book Slowing Down to the Speed of Life, we have slowing down to the speed of tawakkul, like slowing down to the speed of trusting in Allah, because when our mind is going crazy, we're not trusting in Allah, we're trusting our own mind, which is not something to trust. And so when we slow down, we slow into that trusting in Allah, and that fits into parenting, and that fits into teaching. My teaching program that I'm developing was going to be called Teaching with Inner Salam, so with inner peace, because I thought, well, that's what the teachers need, is the inner peace. But in fact, since I've been studying Islamic pedagogy, I've realized that there's a missing element there, and it is what they're doing even, and that is this tawakkul, trusting in Allah. Mm-hmm. So my program is now actually teaching with tawakkul, is teaching them how to teach with tawakkul. And it's something that's really missing in our Islamic world. It wasn't, if you read the old, the work of scholars of past, it was all there. It's only been in the last couple of centuries that this concept has fallen away from our Islamic work or our Islamic teaching. And unfortunately, a lot of it has come from colonization and the secularization of a lot of the education systems across the Muslim world. So we're trying to revive that back into Islamic education, the spiritual element.
Trying to go back to al-fitra.
That's what I call back to the fitra, is because fitra is our innate state. So we're trying to help people back to their fitra state. Yeah, and so Zainab, Janine, and Daniela are all certified mentors and coaches through my academy, and Anam is currently doing the certification program. So we're all connected here.
Yeah, Anam, would you like to say something? Because you said at the beginning that if you would like to share something from your experience with your kids.
Definitely, I would like to share my experience as well. Like when I came into this world of 3 principles, at the beginning I was like, what I need to do, what I need to do, how I need to handle, like crazy thinking was going on. And then like my son was struggling a lot as well. Like when I, in my society, in my culture, when a lady or a girl gone through that divorce or separate divorce procedure going on, they do, the family members do point out, or they do use kids as well against their mother. So he was struggling a lot. He is struggling, but now, alhamdulillah, he's on a good level. So whenever anybody says anything to him, my son, or anybody could say anything to me, like you are wrong, you are like creating problems for him, whatever they would say, he started throwing his tantrums, and he's beating everybody. He started like you can say suicidal attempts. He started doing even at the age of 6 to 7 years. But when I have been going through that 3P understanding, whenever I see him that he have some crazy thinking going on, he have some angry thinking going on, I do ask him, and I do ask him with a very compassionate and calm place, that what you're feeling. And he started replying me that I'm angry. And I started asking him like, so you have angry thinking going on? And he said, yes, I am angry because why they do this. So yeah, and now he's at that point, whenever he sees me that I am in some thinking mode, he started asking me as well, like, Mom, you have some sad thinking going on? You have some angry thinking going on?
Kids are brilliant. Kids are brilliant.
So I do respond to him like, no, I have some thinking going on, but I don't want to say anything at this point. If I say so, that thinking would come into its alive position, and I don't want to give them, you can say, I don't want to allow them to be alive, allow that thinking to be alive. So even yesterday when I was talking with him, he was like, he was disturbed. Like my brother used to say things to him like, your mom do this, your mom do this. Like he's turning against, in short, against me. So he was disturbed. He was against him. But yesterday I was asking him like, Mom, what we need to do at this kind of situation? And he said that, I think this is a point we need to ignore him, whatever he is saying. He's saying we need to ignore, we don't need to give attention to him. So I'm so blessed that it's all started from me. Like I have been going through 3P understanding, and now he's catching that as well. That things are shifting in him as well. And now he is in that space where he could see that. Not in that perfect way, but whatever he can, he is doing. So yeah, that was.
Yeah, beautiful story. And it's interesting, Krista, because we have, of course, a fellowship here in Australia, and then Anand is on her own. She doesn't have the support of this is quite a beautiful fellowship that I call fellowship with the women in Australia and so on. And but 3 principles of what you're sharing with the parents is also for people who do not have a whole bunch of people around. In fact, in many cases, that will be the case where they have to trust inside themselves what they truly know is well. We all know kids are an experiment in the moment anyway, so we do our best.
I actually
Exactly.
think we can learn from them more than they learn from us, to be honest. I think our job is to try not to corrupt their beautiful, what we call fitra, because as 𝗍𝗵𝗿𝗀𝘀 said, they pick it up so quick. My kids are the same. They'll pick up on me and turn my words back on me. Just remember, it's thoughts in the moment, 𝗍𝗵𝗿𝗀𝗍 is what they call me. So they can teach us perhaps more than we can teach them if we just let them be in their own wisdom and intelligence.
Yeah, I agree with that. I love the learning from the kids. They make me feel young. Yeah.
Yeah. When I came into when I saw that Catherine pace and her what was going on at that time, I actually forgot. So when I get to know about that Catherine Institute, I was actually locked in a room just due to that decision. And even nobody was allowed to talk to me, and I was not allowed to talk or even meet with anyone. But even at that room, like what Catherine was sharing, that Allah is there for us. He is protecting us. He is caring for us. There is a power behind every single thing. So yeah, it's all magical. It's all decided, how we need to go through from all that things. But yeah, there is a lot of learnings as well, and tawakkul as well. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Something that just occurred to me, like from the title that the title of this talk, basically, educating children about 3 Ps. They are basically educating us. Like that's what comes to mind, like, because like as Catherine said, I learn a lot from playing with my little cousins, just being with them in that state of presence. And I like, if I'm upset, I'm not upset anymore. If I'm overthinking, I'm not overthinking anymore, and that impacts me. So yeah, as Catherine said, like just just like being with them and like learning from them, that's like they are the best teachers. Actually, they're the best teachers. Yeah.
Well, it seems like this is a good place. I'm going to make a suggestion. I really have loved where we have gone, and we're taking the summer off. One more show, and then the summer off. I want the summer to just ease out a little, and then in the new year, in September, we want to start again. And I wonder if in the new year if we could continue with this discussion. I feel like we've touched the iceberg, we've broken, but there's so much more that we can get into. Would you ladies and everybody be into, like in the new season, to come back again, and we'll get a common time that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This time's okay, but 3:30 in the morning is just beyond
Well,
me.
if you wouldn't have mentioned it, I would never. I thought it was actually 6 a.m. in Australia. When you told me it was 4, I went, holy mackerel! This is no good.
Yeah.
Even I'm not going to get up at that time. So yeah, okay. It was that. Would you be into that, Krista? If we would do in the new season, we'll pick a time that's common, that fits into it.
Sounds great.
Yeah, to delve a little bit deeper, even to where what we have here, but just a cool look at a cool situation, really neat situation, and how the three principles can be flexible in its, because the truth is the only thing that matters, not the words that we choose, etc. And how, you know, Krista's curriculum, I can feel we all teach it a little bit different. And there was one time I was listening, the Spark people, I don't really get into that curriculum, but they developed something, and Omar Wilson, who's with Jacqueline Hollows, and she said, he was teaching it. I wrote the curriculum, he was teaching it, but I couldn't follow what he was teaching. You know, he was, but he was communicating. The feeling was coming. And that's its message. Be yourself. Don't follow. Don't follow. Be. And if it connects, you'll find a way that connects. I teach my way. Krista teaches her way. Catherine teaches her way. And then Omar tells bad jokes about it. Yeah, okay. Sorry. Bad ending to the show. I'll have to cut that out. So Omar, could you say a little finale? But we'll do it in the new season again. Krista, I think this is a cool, very good. And Sarah, please come on again too, and to share and stuff. And Anand, thank you for sharing your heartfelt stories. That was very good. Brings a human side to the professors who are talking.
You just said what I was about to say, Harry.
Yeah, that's right, Sarah. Sanab. Yeah, that's right.
It's Anam.
It's Anam.
Oh.
Yeah. Thank you so
yeah.
much for giving us a space where we can talk about it, where we can share our experiences through like 3P understanding. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, we came to the end of this amazing show. So I would love to thank you all for joining us. It's early, late time for some of you. Thank you for our guest speakers, and thanks for our audience. And yeah, so it's been wonderful hearing the stories, and it's just it's bringing so much hope to people's hearts, and to the children of who are the future. We're taking over everything. Yeah, thank you, Krista. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Daniela. Thank you, Anam, Sarah, Janine, and thanks for my co-host Harry Derbinsky as always. I'll see you in 2 weeks. And the next guest speaker are gonna be Dr. 𝘖𝗵𝗿𝗀𝘀𝘁. So it's gonna be a good one. Looking forward to it. Thank you, everyone.
Hi.
Bye.
Well, wasn't that nice?